Macarons, the quintessentially difficult cookie. I have failed so many times in trying to perfect this, but now I can walk you through every single hazard and every single tripwire that you might cross that can potentially ruin your cookie, and come along with me and we will get through it together, I promise. Now when it comes to the powdered sugar and blanched almonds, the original recipe asks for you to grind up your own almonds, make your own almond flour. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times I messed that up. So I just went to Walmart and bought this. And if you can't find this locally, I definitely recommend just ordering it online. You'll need to sift it through to make sure that your macarons are not lumpy. And we'll need 71 grams, which I'm really close to. Oh, 71, perfect. So I'll just tear that out. And then into the sifter as well, some powdered sugar, and we'll need 117 grams. And then we'll just sift away. Any kind of sifter will work, but if you don't sift it, all of these lumps will get into your macarons and make them lumpy and not very pretty. But just toss this and you have some beautifully sifted confectioner sugar and powdered and almonds right there. All right, so on to the eggs. We'll need 2 egg whites. I don't really bother measuring the egg whites out because, I mean, I'm not gonna crack open another egg for another couple grams, you know? And the original recipe calls for room temperature eggs, and the times that I've done this and it's been really successful, it's never mattered if it was cold eggs or room temperature eggs. So we're just separating the egg whites and egg yolks. This is one step right off the bat that if you don't get right can go pretty wrong. If your bowl is contaminated with anything and you feel like your meringue isn't rising, that's probably why. It's dirty, or there's something in it, or there's something on the whisk or the whisk attachment. So make sure to have a clean bowl. The recipe originally says to pour in the sugar gradually. I've never seen a difference whether or not I dump it in. I actually even dump it in right at the beginning. I mean, it's a little frothy now, but I've never seen any difference or have it affect my meringue in any way. This is a Swiss meringue where it's just sugar going in. There's also an Italian meringue that calls for a sugar syrup to be poured into the egg whites, but I feel like that's an extra unnecessary step. Okay, so it's been a few minutes and it looks more like a meringue. It's coming together. It's nice and shiny and glossy and thick. But when I pull it up, this little peak right there didn't really hold up anything. So it's sort of like a soft peak. We want a stiff peak, so maybe 2 more minutes. I beat it for just about another minute and it looks the same. It looks just glossy and thick before, but this time when I pull it out, this peak right there didn't fall over or anything. And they say if it's a stiff peak, you can turn the bowl upside down, nothing will come out. So that's perfect. Now is a great time to add any flavors or colors you'd like. I love pink. I'm gonna make pink this time. And definitely a gel color. You can't use what you have on hand if all you have is liquid food coloring. It messes with the chemistry. And just one little dollop, and I'm just going to mix for another 30 seconds just to incorporate. I don't want to over mix it any more than it already is. Like that, not even 30 seconds, not even 10 seconds, that's perfect. So I'm just going to dump it all in. Like that, and this is, I think, the stage that I had messed up on the most often. I am a chronic overmixer where I would look for, the recipe originally calls for you to look for hot lava. I don't know about you, I've never seen lava in my life. I don't live on Hawaii or near a volcano or anywhere. So I would just mix it until I saw a runny ribbon. But then that runny ribbon would be way too much. So this kind of looks like a really thick dough and we kind of want a batter. So we're going to mix just a little more. We're getting some of the air out that we had beaten into the eggs. And you're going to want to see when you drop it, it's going to fall into itself and go into itself after about 20 seconds. 20 seconds, let's see if that kind of falls into. 4, 5, 6. That looks good. That's falling in back into the batter, this little lump right here. So I'm going to put it in a piping bag now. You will need a piping bag with a round tip. I have one here that is just about that big. I'm not sure how big that is, but I've tried using a sandwich bag and cutting the corner off. That will not work. There are some things I cut corners on, like the temperature of the eggs and maybe the amount of powdered sugar I'd put in if I didn't want it too sweet. But these things have set me up for success when it came to macarons, and these things I will always adamantly emphasize. Template, I didn't have a print off template. I just took the lid of like a juice jar and I drew these little circles to make sure when you're starting off to get the most even cookies. I put that underneath my parchment paper that I'm going to use, and that way I can see it. So this is one thing I also want to emphasize that a lot of people have problems with is if you do anything but an absolute vertical pipe, you're going to have lopsided macarons. So always do a 90-degree angle, and we're going to pipe and stop just as the cookie gets to the edges of those little circles I drew. This one, just tap. And you'll want to tap to get all the air bubbles out. I'm just taking a toothpick here and popping any air bubbles that might have come up. So depending on your oven, depending on the size of your macarons, I made mini ones that only took about 3 minutes. So I would check it at about 9 minutes and make sure that you can touch the feet and they're kind of dry, but there's no coloration on the top. So while the macarons are baking, also another reminder to put the rack in your oven on the lower third. I also want to be super careful and I only bake 1 tray at a time. There are some ovens that are really great and even. Well, I want to make sure that each tray gets the same attention and time, and I don't want to ruin any sort of other variables. So I just leave it 1 at a time. All right, y'all, actually after 8 minutes, this is what they look like. They are absolutely perfect. They have high risen feet. They're smooth on the top. I'm so happy they came out so wonderful. We are letting them cool completely. I know it's very tempting to make sure that the underside is cooked all the way through, but if it's brown a little bit at the top and you touch the sides and the sides are dry, they are definitely cooked all the way through. So you'll just want to go on underneath oh so gently. Pick it up and see it is absolutely beautiful and perfect. There's the beautiful feet, the glossy top. We'll just sandwich them together. Oh, they're so cute! Oh, they're perfect! Let me know if your macarons maybe crack at the top, if they spread out, if they don't have feet, if they're hollow on the inside. I have troubleshot all of the problems for macarons. I've done this recipe so many times. And I would read a bunch of troubleshooting sites and they weren't too clear. So hopefully I can dumb it down and use layman's terms, I guess, so that I can understand it also. But also if you're not a chef and you just want to make some beautiful, delicious cookies for your loved ones or just for yourself, I hope that I can help. I would have loved to have this video maybe a few years ago when I first started making macarons and failing miserably every single time. So let me know, and thank you so much for watching. Hope this helps. Bye.